I want to get this right, and I also want to thank him because I think he just subscribed. Yeah, DC Rome Hickey. Rome, thank you very much for subscribing. I appreciate that. Or rather, following on Twitch. But Rome recommended that I listen to Akala. Akala? I don't know how you pronounce his name. I know he did a TED Talk. But this is one of his songs. This is called Fire in the Booth, Part 1. We'll see how this goes. And once again, I'm very excited to listen to this. Let's go.
I know you're gonna dig this.
Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Okay.
Yo. Okay. Yo.
I like you. You're like a tiger.
Yes, I grew up on a dole in a single parent family. Been through a little bit of tragedy. Yes, I was around drugs and violence before the day that I started secondary. That's part of it, not half of it. Get the picture, the rest ain't necessary. Growing up, got a little caught up. That ain't even half of my life. Also given the knowledge of self, that is all we actually need to survive. If you saw me, age 9, reading Malcolm, just fine. Teachers still treated me stupid. Students that couldn't speak English, they put me in groups with. The irony is some...
Okay, so I'm not sure what part of London or what part of England that this gentleman is from, but clearly his upbringing was tough. Single parent, school, doesn't sound like the school believed in him whatsoever. That sucks. Yeah. I mean, but you know, from that burden comes art. From that tragedy comes, you know, expression.
I'm the first man to give me schooling, you were called gangsters. I already explained that we know what the truth is. They used to say don't be like me. Yeah, I got a name and don't on the street. Nighttime comes, I can't sleep. It's the part that rappers don't speak. We don't hit the road cause we're thugs. Don't come out the room, wanna sell drugs. If we got the right guidance and love, would we fight people just like us? How could I knock the hustle to get back?
Ooh, that's a really interesting, okay, so he found guidance through gangsters. And you know, he's saying like, you know, we're not born into wanting to sell drugs. That's stupid. I don't want to sell drugs because I want to. Like, I have to. And the question that he asks is, if we got the right guidance and love, why would we fight the people just like us? I don't know if he's specifically talking race, like just like us, or demographic, area of living. But you know, he's not wrong. It's kind of a self-fulfilling prophecy that that marginalized people that are forced into doing things like this have no other outlet, and they're expected to do things like this. And unfortunately, there's not enough, whether it be social work or education or understanding or whatever the case, there's just not enough for them to get out of that situation. A lot of laws and a lot of things have been made to, delineate that separation between, those people and the people that are with privilege.
How do you think I ate as a child? Judge no one, done many things wrong. Just don't boast about it in songs, but listen to my older bars. I was just as confused as you probably are, but you grow when you learn. Travel on cut, one too many man, get caught. One too many man that could have been doctors, end up spending the whole life boxed up. You learn if you study, so set out just to make them money. No cover, it's all about getting poor people to fight with one another, so it's logical that us killing.
He said it right there. It's all about getting poor people to fight one another. Okay, so someone like me, I didn't grow up in the ghetto. I was a very, very lucky individual. My parents were, I guess, for lack of a better term, upper middle class. And I'm definitely come from a family of privilege. So I don't know at all what it really is to like, live off of food stamps or live off of how we gonna pay rent next week. What can we do? And it sucks. It's very humbling to kind of think about. and then kind of puts it into a little bit of perspective, I'd say.
Our brothers, dissing our mothers is right in line with the dominant philosophy of our time. But time is a cycle, not a line. Comes back around, you regain your mind. You be ready for the energy I challenge in my rhyme. Remedy the pedigree, the jeopardy of your mind. When the world's this, leverage is a crime. We can all fight with our brothers.
His enunciation is really good too. That's the thing. Like I don't know, for those of you who aren't familiar with like different like British dialects, if you will, and pronunciations, but I understand almost every single word that he's saying here. And it's, you know, not to say that just because of his accent he would normally make it inaudible or anything, but it's just very, very impressive. I hear definitely kind of a Twista kind of vibe with some of his alliterations and syncopations to the beat. It's very cool. It's very cool.
Over crumbs, harder to fight the one who makes guns. We can all talk, get $2. Harder to be the one who seeks knowledge. If we understood economics with no money's nothing, think nothing of it. Money is a means to get wealth, not the wealth itself. And don't get confused.
That's it, right there. That is beautiful. That is a beautiful sentiment right there. Money. God, what did he say? Money is a means to get wealth, but not wealth itself. Too many people think that money can open up opportunities, but it's what you do with those opportunities that can give you actual wealth. Having things, is that wealth? In one way, yeah. But in my opinion, having a worldly rounded, a worldview, that's wealth. Now, I can say, speaking with people who haven't traveled the world versus people who have traveled the world, who do you think I relate to more? And when we think of certain aspects of what's going on in certain parts of the country, nationally and internationally, do you think I would listen to people that have been there, lived there, or people that just see it on the news and just come up with their own opinion based off of almost nothing? So that's for me, that's a version of wealth. But yeah, I mean, you know, for me to travel the world, I needed money. Yes, this is true, but I didn't just go out partying, you know?
Far from broke, all that you see me do I own, but I won't hang what I make around my neck. I know from where that the diamonds came, but I do literally own a library that definitely costs more than your chain and businesses.
Yeah, God, did he? I own a library that's worth more than your chain. Is that what he said? That is funny. That's awesome, though. Man, I gotta say, the pen is mightier than the sword right there.
I'm property far from starving. I eat quite properly, and I don't care. Just said it for the kids who need to know you're not broke to listen. Don't know an asset from a liability. They've never been shown nor told the difference, so they don't change.
Is this guy listening to Rich Dad Poor Dad or something like that? What is the difference between an asset and a liability? Do you guys know? I mean, it's once you find out what it is, it's like, okay, well that's fairly obvious. But I can almost guarantee you most of the people that are watching right now have way more liabilities than assets. I do too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not on any kind of high horse. It's just, you know, it's an interesting thing to know, but it's not something that we're taught. And by the time that we're taught, it's hard to get that mentality out, right? An asset, like if I want to go buy a car, I have enough money to buy that car is a liability because I'm not making any money off of that car. But if I go buy property, rental property, and I use that money from the rental property, that's an asset. And then from that, I can then go buy a car because I'm not really paying for my car. The rental property is paying for the car. See, isn't that weird? It's hard though, because we've been taught, especially here in the West, we've been taught to get the thing, you need to go and earn it, which is true, but you should make your money work for you, which is hard because you have to wait. have to wait for that money to actually start working for you.
Situation. Richest man in Britain is Asian. That's significant. Not coincidence. Asian people build businesses not by flossing, going out shopping, giving up the culture for everyone's profit. Who runs Bollywood? Indian people.
What did he say about Asians? Hold on. I got to rewind that. I thought that was poignant.
People build businesses not by flossing, going out shopping, giving up the culture for everyone. Not coincidence. Asian people build businesses not by flossing, going out shopping, giving up the culture for everyone's profit. Who runs Bollywood?
Asian people built businesses not by flossing or not by flossing or what? What did he say?
By flossing, going out shopping, giving up the
Not by flossing, going out shopping, giving out their culture to everyone's That's yeah. I mean that's very true. It is a weird way to look at it, but it is true. When it comes to a lot of these, big businesses, like look at IKEA. They're owned by a Japanese conglomerate.
The culture for everyone's profit. Who runs Bollywood? Indian people. Who runs our ish? So we shake our ass and dance as if racism just upped and vanished. But has it? No, it's right on course. You're beaten so bad you're trained to ignore. Let me not just make sweeping statements. Give me a second.
That's the thing. Like, and I've said this before on the podcast and like with Estrella. Basically, Chai, what it sounds like he's alluding is that when it comes to the marginalized, Asian people run their shit. Indian people run their own shit. But when it comes to black people, for whatever reason, he's finding it to be very, very difficult to be able to own mentally and physically. Because of the systemic racism that just kind of prevails. And yes, like racism just continues. And I've said this before, and I'll say it again. I don't get the brunt of racism as much as I thought I would. But I feel like part of that is the line that he says, "You're beaten so bad, you're trained to ignore." For me, it's not that I was trained to ignore racism when it ever was directed at me. I was just kind of trained to, well, yeah, in a way, I was trained to ignore it, and I was like, this person is just ignorant. I'm not going to react in the way that they want to react. They're just ignorant, and I'm just going to move on. And that, lessens the blow, and it takes away their power. But I wonder if I change that and try to actually, talk to that person, would it get combative? Would it be of any worth to talk to them? I don't know.
I'll explain. For small amounts of drug possession, there's more black people in jail in America than there is for rape and armed robbery and murder all put together. You can say they're just locking up thugs. Imagine they're in prison every middle class kid that had ever held drugs. Oh, that's right, that'd be your kids. Bigger than that, what is going on with this? Prison in America's private business. They get paid $50K per year per inmate by the state. Just wait, also legally are allowed to use their prison inmates as slaves. Cheap slave labor, big corporations, they come out of jail when they can't get a job. So when we celebrate going to jail, we are literally celebrating enslavement. Add to that the hood that you live in, engineered social condition that breeds crime.
Yeah, so I don't know how it is in the UK. I don't know how it is in other parts of the world. But yes, I mean, I wouldn't necessarily call it slavery because inmates are getting paid. They're getting paid half of pennies. I get it. We'll call it indentured servitude. All right, we'll call it what it is. It's akin to slavery. They're individuals getting underpaid for the hard labor that they're doing in jail. And he's not wrong. The statistics are there. A lot of African American men that have done not so many heinous crimes compared to non-African American males who have just kind of gotten away with it. And this is he's pointing out the systemic racism that kind of prevails here in the US. That's something that, people like Kim Kardashian, as much as you might not like her, she's at least trying to do something to right some of those wrongs. You know, people are trying to advocate. People are trying to, you know, not necessarily forgive, but try to make it right. All of the, you know, one, I don't know if it was in New York or where, but one question that was on the docket was regarding, you know, marijuana. Should old marijuana, what are they called? When you should old you know, old charges when you got charged for marijuana for possession, should that still be on your record? Especially now that it's, you know, almost ubiquitous. It's still federally illegal, but on a state level, should the state still recognize those old charges? I know California is getting rid of it just little by little. So at least in California, if you were charged for possession of marijuana like 10 years ago, that can be expunged from your record. And, you know, it's kind of better late than never, and at least there's some movement in that direction. But definitely, if you do look at the numbers, it seems very unbalanced, the amount of black people that are charged for that versus the amount of non-black people. I don't know what the answer is, or the solution, rather. Because no matter what the generation is, I feel like, oh, the next generation of judges or the next generation of mayors, senators, people in power, they'll be more understanding. They'll be more, like, for lack of a better term, woke to, and a little bit more empathetic to marginalized people, but that doesn't seem to be working.
By design, where do you think you get your man? You could say that they're just black, but I like to deal with facts. In the 1920s, you would have found in America black towns, prospering centers of economics to education to make you proud. But some people couldn't bear that the former slaves would not just slide down to the KKK and other hate groups. Burn those towns to the ground, killing hundreds if it ain't understood. You think you were always living in the hood? It's only been 60 years since the hung blacks and burned them, and that was so cool. They were your.
So one thing I don't know about this gentleman is if this is off the cuff, like freestyle, or if this has been, you know, written down anywhere. Because this is 8 minutes long. We're only 3 minutes into this. It's very, very impressive. But it's a lot. It's very heavy. It's very heavy. I mean, we talk about political activism. No, political activism. This is definitely a really good way to kind of, you know, dip your toe into it. If you at least want to see somebody else's side of life.
Your baskets, picnic baskets, even gave kids the day off school. Go see a lynching. Have a picnic, it's fun to watch the little monkeys die. And people act a little dysfunctional. You wanna pretend that you don't know why. If your color means you can be killed and you're powerless to get justice about it. Is it difficult to figure out how you would then end up feeling about it? And that ain't excuses, just dealing with the roots of abuses that make a reality. We're a generation of young men speak of ourselves as dirt casually. That's America, this Britain. Something similar, some different. In this country, the first enslaved were the working class. What's changed? Worse jobs, worse conditions, most tax. Look where you live and yet you go to the pub. Friday night you will fight with a guy, don't know what for, won't fight with a guy. Shooting a tie who send your kids to die in a war. They don't send the kids to the rich or the politician. It's your kids, the poor British, that they send to go and die in a foreign land. For these wars.
Yeah, it definitely has a freestyle vibe to it. Like these topics are all interconnected, but it seems like he's at this point he's trying to formulate what he's getting at. He's like, okay, I'm done talking about the America. Let's talk about what's happening here in Britain. It still flows a little bit. It still flows, and it's still like really poignant. But he lost me a little bit there. It felt like he was floundering a little bit and waiting to try to connect the two topics.
That you don't understand. Yeah, they say you are British and that lovely patriotism they feed you, but in reality you have more in common with immigrants than with your leaders. I know both sides of my family, black and white, a fed ghetto mentality, reality in this system. Poor people.
Oh, is he a Hapa? Is he mate Rick? I can't even speak. Is he mixed race? See, I know both sides of my family, black and white, are fed ghetto mentality. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Like, marginalized individuals, definitely more people of color are, you know, affected by this. But there are white people, non-people of color, I guess, that that are fed this kind of mentality because of their upbringing, because of their, you know, socioeconomic background. And it's not that they're ignorant to what else is out there, but they kind of have to live in this, you know, kind of experience.
People dirt regardless of shade. But with that said, let's not pretend that everything is the same. When our grandparents came here to Britain, if you had a criminal record you couldn't get in. That ain't protecting from all of the stupid abuses they will be living. Kicked in the teeth, stabbed in the street, many times firebombed our houses, put feces through our letterbox, and of course the cops did so much about it. Daily, up to the 80s, people spitting in my palm because I was a baby. But of course, that has had no effect on why today we are crazy. And none of this was for any good reason. They were just dark and breathing to ease the guilt now for all of this treatment. Constant stereotypes are needed. So if I celebrate how big that my kid, bricks that are flipping, clips that are sticking, chicks that I'm hitting, I'm playing my position. But if I teach a kid to be a mathematician, messing with the schism, how they gonna fill a prison when materialism is no longer our religion? What do you think we got now in Britain? Just like America, private prison, prison for profit. That mean when your kids go.
Okay, he's back to prisons here. The one thing I liked about that stanza was when you know he's talking about stereotypes. Like he's a black rapper, so what do black rappers do? They talk about, you know, sex, girls, money, cars. But the second that he wants to try to teach a kid, you know, mathematics or how to better themselves, he's messing with the schism. He's messing with the system, and it's not appropriate. Which is true. Like, you're gonna get some rappers, some African American, or just, you know, some people of color that are accepted as, like, not a messiah necessarily, but accepted to be like, okay, this we can allow this rapper to be to talk more about the world, to be a little bit more what's the word I'm looking for? Not worldly, but understanding, empathetic. I mean, really, we can allow this one black rapper to go against the stereotype. We're okay with that. That one black rapper, but all the other ones we're gonna make popular because they're gonna, you know, proliferate this stereotype, which sucks.
Jail people make money off it, so keep environments that breed crime. Build more jails at the same time. Market badness to the kids in the rhymes. Long as rich kids ain't dying, it's fine. Get them to the point where some are so lost they actually believe if they don't celebrate killing themselves off. That it's because they're soft. Was Malcolm soft? Was Marley soft? Tell me, was Marcus Garvey soft? Well, was Muhammad Ali soft? Nah, I think not, but they want us to think that the road is cool. Being on bold is all we could do. We don't control the wholesale production, so who benefits from us moving the food? Or thinking there's no way out of old life, but Malcolm X used to hustle on the roadside. And Marcus Garvey organized more than 6 million people with no Facebook or Twitter. Why is it something you can't eat? One of my own homeboys did attend straight in the boxing yard. Now what's he doing? Passing his doctorate. Don't tell me that it's too hard. Who trained you to believe it inferior? Songbo Evido in Nigeria are the remains of an ancient moat dug 1,000 years ago. 20 meters wide, 70 down. Round the remains of an ancient town that's 400 square miles.
Okay, now he's getting a little historic on us, which again is why I'm like this definitely feels more of a flow, because I don't know, we're talking about, you know, thousands of years ago Nigeria are like necessarily connected to the previous stanza about Malcolm X and Marcus Garvey, but it's very loosely connected, which I guess is fine. But one thing that I did like from that previous stanza that I liked was, you know, talking about that they want us to think the road is cool, but being on the road is all we can do. There definitely seems like, from his point of view, is like a set that he has to adhere to be accepted. But then you get people like Malcolm X or Marcus Garvey to rise above it, essentially, and to do something different, to get people to think beyond the road, to like Malcolm X used to hustle out on the roadside to get people to do more than what's expected of them. Why can't they be treated as equal? I think that's, again, from his point of view, it's got to hurt, right? It's got to be really tough to feel like it's all very much pigeonholed.
Miles around, 400 square miles around. Please don't believe me, it was a documentary on BBC, but we ain't studying history, too busy watching MTV. And MTV said, wear platinum. Now everybody wanna go and wear platinum. And MTV said, pop magnums. Now everybody wanna go and pop magnum. If MTV said, drink prune juice, you will start hearing that in tune soon. Hey, today I wore my Cartier, is it now more important what I got to say? Oh, and I drive a Mercedes, by the way, so everybody listen to what I got to say. Does that make you all happy? But if my head's still nappy, think for myself, so some mad at me, but on the mic ain't not one bad as me. All of this here's good for the rhymes, put us in the same place at the same time, and it's clear to everybody I'm out of my mind. Some of these guys are running out of their rhymes, clear to everybody that has got ears. I'm the guy that they just might fear, that they want to get near, but they can't have a peer. All dear, I'm hard liquor, you just like beer. Front on the kid for another 5 years. Come to my shows and some criteria mean that much to them. It's a movement, I don't speak for myself, but a unit. Black, white, man, woman, anyone who respects truth we put in. Dudes are like no dinner, we're just pudding. Yeah, you're sweet but no substance pudding. You can never ever be with a level on. Our songs get played out there in Lebanon. We speak for the people properly, not for the old fat guys in offices and the girls love him. Ain't fair, you can't even be bothered to comb his hair. Anyway, that's enough kissing my own ass. Back to the more important task of being so shower. I got half the hood screaming, knowledge is power. And I ain't saying that'll change rap, that, but I do know this for a fact, right?
I do like that he's self-aware that everything that he has said up until now, we're about 7 minutes into this, that nothing's probably going to change. But if you can take away at least one thing from what he's saying, what one truth that he has pulled from, like, one of his historical mentionings, that might make you a little bit more empathetic to, not to the cause, but to their life.
Now there's a you on your block with his hands on his face screwed up, so he don't care, don't give a that he won't let nobody call his bluff, but the words go in. Open your shackles, once that's happened there is no going backwards. You start to see what is really happening, who the enemy you should be attacking is. So read, stuck on the block, read, sitting in the box, read, don't let them say what you can achieve, because when people are enslaved,
yeah, he's not wrong about that. I will agree that a lot of people who are upset about certain things, and it's not just about race, but they're upset about something that's going on, but they're not necessarily having a their reaction is more emotional than logical, because they don't know the history of what it is they're mad about, right? Critical race theory, why are people mad about it? Do they really know what critical race theory is? Truthfully, I just learned about what it really is about 2 weeks ago, but I've heard this thing for over a year and a half, but I just learned about it. So I don't know if people are just going off of what their other friends are saying what it is, and that's just making them madder, or if they're actually doing the research from the actual professors that coined that phrase and do not agree with those professors. If they don't agree with those people that coined the original phrase, then fine. But if you're going off of what some person on Facebook or someone on TikTok had said, and you're like, yeah, they shouldn't be doing that, like, then read. Like, don't get mad at something just because you are ignorant to the full truth. You need to actually understand.
One of the first things they do is stop them reading, because it is well understood that intelligent people will take their freedom. Because if we knew our power, we would understand we can't be held down. If we knew our power, we would not elevate not one of these clowns. If we knew our power, we wouldn't get arrogant when we get 2 pennies. If we knew our power, we would see what everybody sees, that we're rich already. But never mind, MCs go run for your mummy. I'm hungry, I run for my tummy. That's enough, back to worshipping money. I'm off, back to the study.
Okay.
Man!
No, that was genuinely impressive. That was genuinely an impressive set. It was very heavy though. It was, because there were like 3 or 4 different topics just in that. And I know it's kind of weird because it was kind of a rant, but like I was saying, if there was anything in that you know drew you in, you're like, that's kind of interesting. I didn't know the statistics of African American people versus non-African American people in the jails for low like demeanors and like, you know, like felonies and stuff like that. I wasn't aware of that. Or, you know, the fact that you know, the socioeconomic status, it doesn't, at that point it doesn't really matter if you're black or white or whatever. You're fed into this machine that tells you that you have to continue doing that.
Heart.